Hey guys and girls, welcome to another video for Darren Chandler Fitness. Today's topic is teaching you guys how to count calories because they are the most important factor you need to take into regards when you're trying to gain or lose weight. You're trying to lose body fat, lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You're trying to gain weight, you need to be in a calorie surplus. No matter all the other small things don't mean anything if you haven't got that factor right first. So you can be having, whatever meals a day, fasted cardio, all that kind of stuff. If you're not in a caloric deficit, disregard all that, it ain't going to help. And if you're trying to gain weight, you're training 5 times a week, doing 2 hours of weights, whatever. If you ain't in a calorie surplus, you ain't going to be gaining no muscle. Alright, so the first thing we're going to run through is what equipment you're going to need. I'm going to keep this video nice and straight to the point. I'll run through it nice and quickly. You're going to need a set of scales, first and foremost. That is the most important thing because you need to weigh your food up to know exactly how many calories are in the food. Apps like MyFitnessPal is really good. You can chuck the foods in, it'll tell you how many calories. But not only will it tell you the calories, it'll tell you the protein and the fat and the carbs, but it'll keep track of that. So by the time you're at meal 4, it's going to tell you up to like 104 gram of proteins and X amount of carbs and total amount of calories and so forth. But if you can't get your head around MyFitnessPal, it's not that hard to use. Another great one you can use is Calorie in Australia. I think this is only available for Apple though. I don't know if you can get it on Android. You can use a notepad on your phone to track things like calories and stuff as well. It's a way that I usually do it. Or you can write it on like a note. For the sake of today, I'm going to be writing stuff on a notepad just so I can show the video and show like my calculations and stuff and how to figure it all out. Alright, now that we've got all the equipment in that use, we now need to figure out how many calories you're going to need per day. One simple way to do it is multiply your body weight in pounds. So let's say I'm 75 kilo. Times that by 2.2. I think that works out to be about 165 kilo. I worked it out before the video. So I'd go, 165, the number. 165 times 13 to 16, depending on how active I am. So your body weight in pounds times by 13 to 16, depending on how active you are. So someone like a tradesman would go up to 16. If you have a sedentary job sitting at a desk all day, you would go 13. And that will spit out how many calories you need day to day. Female body weight in pounds, so once again, times your body weight by 2.2, by roughly about 11 to 14. If you're on the active end of the scale, you would go by 14. If you're on the inactive side, you would go more by 11. That's going to give you a rough estimate of how many calories you're going to need a day. Another thing you can do is Google a BMR calculator. BMR stands for Basic Metabolic Rate. I went to the first website that popped up and it brought me to caloriecounter.io. So here we go, I've chucked in, I'm 28 years old, 75 kilograms in weight, so I chose kilogram there rather than pounds, 177 centimeters tall, I'm male. I chucked down that I work out moderately 3 to 5 days per week, so that's probably the average for most people. If we go calculate, that will spit out my daily calories as 2,771. That would be how much I would need to eat to maintain my body weight. Any more than that, I would gain weight. Any less than that, I would lose weight. So there's another way you can do it. If you don't just want to take the simple multiplying by those numbers, you can actually jump online and find out your number there. Alright, so let's say I've chucked in my stats and it spat out 2,500. So 2,500 calories would be enough for me to maintain my weight day to day. So now we're going to work out our weekly totals because I like to work things over the course of a whole week because not every day today is the same. So if I go 2,500, my daily needs, times 7, that gives me a total of 17,500 calories. So that would be enough for me to maintain my weight, 17,500 calories a week. Now we need to work out the deficit. So I want to be in roughly about a 500 calorie deficit a day. So 500 times 7 is a total of 3,500. So we take our total that we needed to maintain our weight, which for me roughly was about 17,500. We then minus that 3,500, which spits out a total of 14,000. Now if every day was the same, you could just go 14,000 divided by 7, which would give us 2,000 calories a day. If you have the willpower and you're going to be strict or whatever, 2,000 calories a day, by all means do that, and that's a perfect way to do it, good way to track your progress, and you're going to start losing your weight. But we all know in life things get in the way. Let's say on a Saturday night you're going out with your girlfriends, you're going to have a couple glasses of wine and a cheese platter or something like that, or boys, you're going out for a drink with the boys, you're going to have a meal down the pub or whatever. Let's say on top of your 2,000 calories, on that Saturday night you're going to have 1,000 extra calories. So that's a total of 3,000 on that day because of the couple of beers and the steak meal that you need to account for. So we're going to go back to our total of 14,000 minus 3,000 from that, if you know it was going to be a 3,000 calorie day, which is going to give us 11,000 calories. So that's a Saturday taken care of. So now we need to take that 11,000 calories and divide it by the 6 remaining days, which is going to give me 1,833 calories. So that way, over the course of the 7 days, I'm still eating my 14,000 calories. I'm still going to be in a caloric deficit over the course of the whole week, so I'm still going to lose fat, even though I went out and had a meal with the boys and that at the pub. So that's where nutrition and dieting can become a little bit flexible. Just because you eat a bad food doesn't necessarily mean it's going to put on fat. So sugar doesn't instantly go to fat. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're eating a little bit of sugar, it's going to get burned off as energy, it's not going to store as fat. So this is where flexible dieting is amazing. It allows you to eat some foods which you generally thought you probably couldn't while in a dieting phase. Obviously everything in moderation, because bad foods generally come with more calories and you need to try to fit them into your daily caloric needs, which can be a little bit trickier with fatty foods because you still got targets of protein and that to hit. So there we go. I want to go out on Saturday, I can enjoy myself, have my 3,000 calories on Saturday, still have my 1,833 calories the rest of the days of the week, and over the course of those 7 days, I'm still going to lose weight. So that is one way to break down your 7 days and work out how much you need. Alright, now it's time to figure out how many grams of protein and fats and carbs you're going to need and where those calories come into play. So with protein, my general rule of thumb is about 1.8 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So if I weigh 75 kilo and I times 75 by 1.8, that spits out 135 gram of protein. Get that from multiple food sources though, not just protein powder. Then we've got, there's 4.1 calories to 1 gram of protein. So if I'm having roughly around 135 gram of protein a day, if I times 135 by 4.1, that gives me 553. So 553 calories a day of my 1,833 will be from protein. Now the next one I want to figure out is fat. Multiple sources once again, so almonds, avocado, peanut butter, all that kind of stuff. Fat has 9 calories to a gram, and my rule of thumb with that one is about 0.5 grams of fat to a kilo of body weight. So once again, I'm 75 kilos, so 75 times 0.5 is 37.5. Now to me, that's a minimum. That's the minimum amount of fat I should be having a day from good fat sources. So 37.5, so let's just say 37 times 9 is 337 calories. So I've got my 553 from the protein, my 337 from the fat, add those together, that gives me 890 calories of so now I've got 1833, that's my total calories, minus my 890, which is my protein plus my fat, leaves me with 943 calories. Now those calories you can get from whatever, majority of those should probably come from carbs, so a little bit more from fats. There's no need to get any extra protein, but if you want to have an extra serving of meat or something with dinner, and some of the calories come from protein, you can. But those 940 calories are quite flexible. You can play around with the foods and stuff like that. Still need to be micronutrient dense, so macronutrients are protein, fat, and carbs. Micronutrients like your vitamins and minerals, so you still need to get like your fruit and your veg and things like that. You can't just go and eat all unhealthy food. You still want to be healthy while you're maintaining these results. Alright, so this is the part where I actually weigh the food up on the scale. So make sure your scale is zeroed. You're then going to chuck the food into the bowl, take a note of what it weighs. Then you can type in what it weighs into your whatever calorie counting app you have. But make sure, for example, with the oats, you have to make sure you chuck them in as being weighed as raw, because these are not cooked. Weighted cooked, you would get a lot less oats for the amount of weight that you'd have because of the water. So as you can see, I've got 49 gram of oats. I'm going to make a note of that. Check the app, check the calories and stuff, make a note down of how much protein and fat and carbs it has also, unless I'm chucking it into MyFitnessPal, and that will do that automatically. Alright, chucked in the microwave. As you can see, now it's heated up. Now it's got the water, so it would weigh differently. Chuck it back on the scales and get ready for the next stuff. Now I'm going to make sure the scales are zeroed. There's a quick show of the oats on my Calorie King. So I've made a note of that. I've zeroed the scales. Now I'm about to add a scoop of protein powder. Always good to weigh things up just to be exact. So that's in there. Made a note of how much it weighs. I'm going to write that down. That way I can then look at the zero the scales. I'll look at the food label later on. Scales are zeroed. Take a handful of almonds, sprinkle those into the dish like so. Now I take a note of what the almonds weigh and I write that down. Now I've got all these foods written down. Now's my time to go to my Calorie app if I'm not using my FitnessPal, that is. Chuck that all in. Alright, so here's me. I'm about to go through the results. So that is for the oats once again. There's the calories, the total fat, 4.3 grams. You've got the carbs, 28.5 and so forth. Make a note of all that. After that, I will then move on to the protein powder. Alright, so checking the label here, write down how many grams of protein, fat, and carbs are in that. But if you put in more than the serving size is 32 grams, I'll put in 35. You've got to make sure you make a note of that, so you could possibly look at the per 100 gram column and use basic maths to sort that out. Now I'm onto the almonds. I'm going to type the almonds into my Calorie King. There it is there. Make sure, once again, the almonds are logged as raw. Same goes if you're ever logging meat and stuff like that. Work out how many grams of fat and protein is. Write it down. There's me doing a quick show of it once again. You get a good look at that. Write it all down. Then you add those calories together, which will give me a total of the 393 calories with 12.8 grams of fat and 36.1 gram of protein. The reason why I haven't thrown the carbs in there is because I do have the overall calories of the meal. I've tracked the 2 ones that I want to check, and the rest of the macronutrients I can be flexible with, like I said earlier. Alright guys, there you go. That's how easy it is to count calories for one meal. If you're having 5 meals a day, you'll just do that for each of the 5 meals. Once you've done it a few times, it gets a lot easier. If you're taking a snack out and about, like a handful of almonds or an apple or a banana or something like that, just pre-weigh the food beforehand and chuck it into your log. So write it in your notes, chuck it in my FitnessPal. That way the calories are written down and calculated before you've even consumed the food, and that way there's no margin of error for slip-ups. Another thing I want to touch base on is sometimes food labeling, like the package labels, aren't always exact. For example, with that protein powder, 1 scoop is meant to be 32 grams, but I don't want scoop in there was 35 grams. So if you want to be exact, make sure you weigh everything up. So even like 2 slices of bread. 2 slices of bread might weigh 89 grams, but when according to the pack, 2 slices of bread might have 140 calories, but their weight for 2 slices of bread might only be 62 grams or something like that. So you can get caught out there. If you don't want to be that precise, just work out your foods to what the labelling and that says, but overdo it. So if the bread says 2 slices of bread has 140 calories, up it to 150, up it to 155. Let's say you're out and about and you're at like a takeaway joint, you just have to get like a wrap, like McDonald's wrap or something like that, and it says it's got 380 calories. Who's to say that the person didn't add a little bit extra sauce in it? Says it's 380, up it to 400 calories. Always underestimate when you're trying to eat in a deficit, like dieting, and overestimate when you're dieting, and underestimate when you're trying to gain weight. So for a guy who's struggling to eat enough food, say you just briefly have 4 slices of bread and peanut butter on, the 4 slices of bread, according to the packaging, are only meant to be 280 calories. Say it was 250, that way you're going to eat some more food later on to ensure that you're in the calorie surplus and not just maintaining for that day. Alright, so I hope that kind of helps. I will touch base on the subject a lot more in the coming weeks and stuff, but hopefully you took something away from that, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good day.